Hi everybody and welcome to Season 76 of Bearcat Update. For today I'll be updating you on how the seasons are looking for our spring sports. From baseball's monster upset over Central Missouri, features over the stars of the dugout, and an exclusive jump into Bearcat past. We got a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. The baseball team picked up big win over number 1 ranked Central Missouri on Tuesday. Landon Wells picked up his first win of the year, going 4 1/3 innings, tallying 5 strikeouts and giving up 2 hits. The Bearcats got things started with Ryan Williams and Kaihuka Young, both collecting RBI doubles in the first inning, taking a 4-0 lead. The Mules would rally back and tie the game in the 5th at 4 apiece, but it didn't take long for the Bearcats to get the lead back, however, as they would score 9 runs in the final 3 innings to get the victory 13-4. Baseball is in action today at Northeastern State. Good luck to the boys in green. The Bearcat baseball team has been nothing but storybook, and they've had new life breathed into them as they chase their best record in years. Dante Distefano sat down with Leonardo May this week to get his story about coming to Northwest.
This is Leonardo Jesus May Castillo. Most people call him Leo. But when he approaches the plate, instead of hearing his name, you're going to hear Leo is from Caracas, Venezuela. And at a very young age, baseball has ran in his blood.
I started to play baseball when I was 3 years old. I played all my life until I was 16 years old. Baseball in Venezuela is like the #1 sport, so every family wants like your son have to be MLB player or something like that. In Venezuela, you gotta look for MLB contract at 16 years old. If you can like find one, you're old or something like that. So my family and me, well, we start to look for college or high schools over here in US.
His play in Venezuela started to attract attention in the US. He received a scholarship from Commonwealth Academy in Springfield, Massachusetts. After his 2 years there, he then received an offer from Northwest. In his first year wearing the Bearcat uniform, he has already been a major threat, starting at second base and even seeing some trips to the mound. With Leo's stellar play on the field, there were some sacrifices he had to make off the field.
My family supports me every second, but they wasn't with me. When I went to my high school, I had a year and a half without my mom and my younger sister, and that was really hard. When I moved here, I had 5 years without saw my dad because he was here working for us, basically. So when I came here, I saw him for the first time and I was so excited. But for the other part, I left my mom and my sister in Venezuela, so it was like hard.
Now that Leo is in that Bearcat green uniform, his family has finally made their way to the States to see him play. This season, Leo has been solid, batting .234 with 15 hits and 5 RBIs. He looks to finish the season off with a bang. Thank you all for watching. I'm Dante Distefano. Back to you in the studio.
The softball team had a bye week with senior day just beyond the horizon. Sitting at 15-20 overall, the Bearcats are right in the thick of it as they ride a 3-game winning streak into a road trip tomorrow. With their schedules cleared up a bit, our reporter Lauren Slocum found time to sit down with junior Alexis Brown, who's been a standout performer for the Bearcats.
Making it to the collegiate level is something every young athlete strives for. It is a difficult yet rewarding journey. This week, I sat down with junior outfielder Alexis Brown to talk about her journey to Northwest and how it shaped her.
I had grown up playing a lot of sports, and just getting towards my senior year, I knew that I didn't want it to be done. And that's when I really started reaching out and got a call to come play for here. And I accepted it. Some challenges were really just doubt I had in myself, not being like the biggest or like the tallest, and just working hard and putting in that extra work to be able to compete with other people at this level. Especially my tournament coach before this, I had spent about 3 or 4 years with him before I got here during high school. Like, he truly believed in me, and I could tell that he did. And every time like I'll struggle, I'll always text him. He had always been there for me, always there from like on my signing day and everything. And yeah, he's just a great guy and a great coach. I've learned a lot about myself mentally and being able to push past those barriers that I've had. I think when I experience like self-doubt in myself, I am hard on myself, and that's visible to my other teammates, but trying to not just see so much in me, but also knowing that I'm not playing for myself and I'm playing for a whole team and other people. Leadership to me means like being a teammate, not just on the field, but also off of it, emotionally having people's back, making sure that they're good, just always being around somebody that you want to be with. I see leadership on my team throughout every single person, and I inspire to pick up those quality traits that they have. The goals that we have as a team is when our backs are against the wall, we're going to keep trying to fight and push back, have that extra fight in us to prove ourselves. A personal goal of mine is just to stay within myself and stay finishing strong, not so much get into my head and let other factors control me. And I really just want to finish on a good note with these girls because they are great teammates.
This has been Lauren for Bearcat Update. Back to you.
Thanks, Lauren. The men's tennis team took on Washouta Baptist on Thursday. The Bearcats quickly found themselves in a 3-1 hole after being swept in doubles matches, but consecutive match victories from Luc Muscati, Antoine Leborn, and Vinny Rodriguez brought the victory home for Northwest. The Bearcats improved to 9-6 on the season and are back in action as we speak, taking on McKendree here in Maryville. The women's tennis team is also playing host to McKendree today. Currently sitting at 6-7, they had an inactive week this week after playing 3 consecutive matches to end the month of March. Good luck to the Bearcats. Even though basketball season ended just over a month ago, the athletes' hard work both on the court and in the classroom is being rewarded. Over the weekend, 6 men were named MIAA Scholar Athletes, with Jack Radigan receiving the MIAA's Academic Excellence Award. Recipients must have a 4.0 GPA in at least 2 terms to be eligible for this honor, as just 5 MIAA men's basketball players were recognized. But the dual effort doesn't stop with the men, as 10 of the women found themselves on the MIAA Academic Honor Roll, with Lindsay and Peyton Kelderman landing the MIAA's Academic Excellence Award. It's not an easy task with their loaded schedules. We'd like to congratulate all that were recognized. Hey, it's halftime. If you like what you see, make sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell to be the first to know when we post new content. But as we take our first break of the show, stick around with us as we throw things over to KZLX. We'll be right back.
Hey Tyrell, why don't you tell everyone what we do here?
Well, yeah, of course, because here are alternatives and options. We find uncommon solutions to common problems. For instance, did you know that tinfoil could be used as an alternative to batteries?
Our goal is to find the most effective, efficient, and affordable options for you.
Whether we're in the lab,
So how much do you really know about laundry detergent? Or on the field? We'll do our best
to give you the best
alternatives and options.
We're going to turn the dial a bit here from X106.7. I'm Wiley Ray. Let's get right into it. Cue that intro. It sounds crazy, but we're talking football today, as next week the Bearcats have their spring game under the first year of head coach, Coach Mack. And the Bearcats now this season, I'm excited because I'm a big passing guy on the field, and you're looking at an air raid offense is how I think the Bearcats are going about their season. And this brings me right in to my leading players of the season. Chris Ruhnke, 3,200 passing yards. 25 touchdowns for Ruhnke. Ruhnke going to have himself an above and a beyond year for the Bearcats offensively. Tank Young offensively on the ground, 650 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns. Young's going to give himself that ability to find those open gaps and even find himself running right through the middle, similar to a Saquon Barkley or even a Breece Hall for any of you young football fans out there, Then Luke Matthews on the receiving end was a key receiver for the Bearcats last year. Once again, going to be a key receiver again for the Bearcats this year. 800 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. I have Matthews sitting just under 800 yards, but only time will tell of what Matthews can do for the Bearcats. We're going to shift to my favorite segment, Ray's Plays and Highlights, as we talk football and dive into some plays from last season. Let's kick things off with play number 1. Alrighty, so our first play here is one of the biggest plays we've seen last season from the Bearcats, and this one is a beautiful pass from Ruhnke to Matthews, really getting the Bearcats out of a spot. As you saw, Ruhnke scrambled out to about their own 15 and found Matthews down to the Emporia State 36-yard line, and a lot of people thought this was an incomplete catch, but Luke Matthews having that ability to keep it in, bring it in, as Ruhnke puts it into the breadbasket, and we're going to break it down. So if you come down here, I want you to stop right now. Beautiful thing I love about Matthews offensively, and this is why I have him as the key receiver next year for the Bearcats, is this spacing you see right here. You got 1 and 2 versus 1 Bearcat, and when you throw the ball downfield, if you're any NFL fan, you know that, hey, D-Hop's down there somewhere, and this is the same thing for the Bearcats, is it's, hey, I know Matthews is down there somewhere, and I know if I throw it to him, it's going to be a dime. And let's let this play roll out. Another thing I want to talk about here is look at Chris Ruhnke. He scrambles out, he finds spacing, and he can throw the ball on the move. And that's another big thing to see, is that we have a mobile quarterback staying in Maryville for next season, and the Bearcats throwing the ball in the breadbasket, they're going to be crushing some loaf this year offensively. Now we're going to break it over defensively here for Northwest, as this is another big thing, and these next 2 plays go hand in hand. And just the defensive line, breaking down that offensive line and forcing a turnover right here on this play. And we're going to dive further into this one. I want you to stop right here. This one, another play, beautiful play defensively for the Bearcats. They have 1, 2 guys here, but you also have 1, 2, 3 offensive linemen there and 1 quarterback, and they do a good job of crashing the backfield and let this play roll out. And as they do a good job of crashing it and forcing that quarterback to move forward, it gives them enough time to put a hand in and force that fumble. Now we're going to go to our third and final play here, where this doesn't force a fumble, but this still emphasizes of how much of a threat this defensive front can be. This one against Emporia State right here, it's a nice little handoff, and this one swings around. He tries to cut back into the inside and then gets tackled by a pile of cats. And as you can see, as I mentioned, this one's great, so let's pause it right here, and I'll tell you why it's great. So this one, you have 3 Bearcats right here. You got 1, 2, 3, creating that wall to where the running back has to force himself back inside, and when he does, you have another 2 right here who are right there. Even though they're guarded, they're still there to make that tackle, and this is why they say a pack of cats is lethal, because let this play run out. This defense next year with an air raid offense and this big of a defensive front, it's going to be a great season for the Bearcats. This has been another edition of BCU with the X. We'll be back in a week. Next up, we're going to send it to a special edition of Next Week in Bearcat Sports. Take it away, guys.
Welcome back to Next Week in Bearcat Sports. I'm your host, Jaden Varner.
And I'm Reece Hill.
And we're back to give you the rundown for Bearcat Sports. Now, you may notice that we're back in our normal set today. That's because somehow Reece's unaired prediction ended up being right.
Yeah, roll the clip.
Yeah, about that. I deleted it. I couldn't risk letting it get out if it was wrong.
Dude, come on.
Well, look, dude, you'll be able to make another prediction, maybe, because baseball starts a 3-game series against Northeastern State today. They'll play 2 games today and finish the series on Monday. After that, the Bearcats will head home to play 1 game against Missouri Western and then start a series against Newman. The Bearcats sit at 15-16 so far and have won back-to-back games, including a big win over number 1 Central Missouri. Dylan Huff has been a big part of baseball's success. He's currently leading the team in batting average, hits, and triples. He'll look to keep up the great play as Northwest heads into these next set of games.
Much like baseball, softball is playing great. They've won 3 straight games, including a 4-2 win against number 6 UCO and 2 blowout wins against Newman. The Bearcats will be back in action on Monday, traveling to Pittsburgh, Kansas to take on Pittsburgh State, and on Tuesday, heading to Joplin to take on Missouri Southern. Omara Love has been playing great. She's second on the team in RBIs, first in extra base hits, and second on the team in hits. Her great play has been noticed as she won MIAA Hitter of the Week. I expect softball to build off their big wins and add to the win streak because we love winning.
Yes, we do. Both men's and women's tennis are in action, hosting McKendree. The men sit at 9-6, and the women sit at 6-7 heading into the matches. Men's tennis will have a quick turnaround heading to Fulton, Missouri to face William Woods. That's set for Tuesday at 3 p.m. Women's tennis will have some time off until Friday when they travel to Oklahoma to play UCO. That's set for 1 p.m. on Friday.
Which brings us to prediction time.
Chill out. Jackson's going to help us this week with the upcoming football schedule, so
take it away, Jackson.
Thanks, guys. Jaden and Reece have tasked me with this week's of Next Week in Bearcat Sports to break down the upcoming 2025 Northwest Bearcat football schedule in an important year, looking for improvements. Coach Wright not coming back as the head coach. Instead, former Northwest Bearcat quarterback John McMenamin taking the realm of head coach here in Maryville, and he has a lot of great things for the offensive side. He is the quarterback coach and the head coach. So with this season, a lot of improvements coming ahead. McMenamin, as we know, came from Tulane, the offensive co-coordinator, led the biggest one-year turnaround in NCAA history, leading the Tulane Green Wave from 2-10 to 10-2, and a Cotton Bowl victory over USC. So Coach McMenamin knows how to get it done. We'll see if he can do it this year in Maryville. Starting off the year against Minnesota State, the Mavericks in Mankato. Last year, second year, the Bearcats have opened against the Mavericks. Last year, they were the 13th ranked at the time, the Mavericks. Bearcats not able to get the job done at home, losing that one 36-22. I think the Bearcats do match up very well against the Mavericks here in week 1. And I do think that the Bearcats could come out, especially if they're trying to get stuff going on the offensive side. That's the only thing that held them back last year. I think that the Bearcats could get the win and start off the season with a dub in week 1 against the Mavericks. Then the next week going to Topeka, Kansas to face the Washburn Ichabods. Last year, a dominant victory, winning that one 51-34 in an offensive explosion on both teams. I think the same thing will happen again. Offense is going to be moving, especially if the week prior against Mankato can get that job done. I think against Washburn, another victory for the Bearcats is in store. So I think the Bearcats are going to start out 2-0 to start the season. Texas A&M Kingsville, the first game in Maryville at home. I don't know. This is a really big toss-up because the last time the Bearcats played Texas A&M Kingsville was back in 2010. They've only played them twice in their whole entire life, back in 1998 and 2010. So this is a matchup that's going to be kind of, a wild card, but I'm going to go ahead and go with the Bearcats. I don't know much about this Kingsville team, but I do think the Bearcats, especially with 2 games back-to-back, that momentum carries into their first home game. I do think the Bearcats can get this one done. So a 3-0 start for the Bearcats is what I'm thinking. Then going to Joplin, Missouri to face the Missouri Southern Lions. Last year against the Lions, winning 59-0 in Joplin. So back-to-back years in Joplin. I think the Bearcats will get it done once again. This Missouri Southern team, I just don't think they can match up with the Bearcats as well as these other teams can. One of the weaker teams in the MIAA conference. I think the Bearcats will get it done in Joplin once again. Then back in Maryville against the UCO Broncos, the defending 2024 MIAA champions, went pretty far in the Division II playoff. I think the Broncos are going to get it done. Just too big of a team. I think the Broncos, with Adam Dorrell back returning as head coach, the former Bearcat coach, then going to Warrensburg to face another tough team in UCM. Zach Zabrowski not returning as the Mules. Starting quarterback the last 2 years, won the Harlan Hill Trophy, the best player in Division II football, will not be returning. But UCM, this will be such an evened up game as far as matchups and plays and just how both these teams have played in years past. Last year's game was really close. UCM won that in Maryville 35-30. Again, close game, but I think the Bearcats, this is their redemption year in that rivalry game. Bearcats will get it done in Warrensburg. Back in Maryville against Fort Hays State, another pretty even game as far as matchups. Last year, the Bearcats' first win of the season, winning that one 32-30, a close game against the Tigers. I think the Bearcats will get it done once again against Fort Hays State. So another little winning streak brewing for the Bearcats that I can see. Another next week in Maryville for homecoming against Nebraska Kearney, the Lopers. Last year, a heartbreaking loss for the Bearcats. Could not get that one done, losing 21-14 on the goal line with 5 seconds left on 4th and goal. Bearcats cannot get the conversion for 6 points, so it's just going to be another close game, but I think the Bearcats will get it another win under their belt, especially back at home in a tough loss like last year. They're going to have that one and a chip on their shoulder. Then to Emporia, Kansas against the Hornets. Emporia State, Northwest last year got the win against the Hornets, and I think they have them outmatched, especially like I've been talking about. The whole entire thing about this year is that offense. If the offense can get going, I think Emporia State cannot match up on that defensive side, so another Bearcat victory there. Back in Maryville for a huge rivalry matchup against the Missouri Western Griffins. Ended up winning 33-23 were the Bearcats, and that was in St. Joe in a hostile environment. So here in Maryville with the fans coming out, getting packed out on Senior Day, and such a big rivalry game, I think the Bearcats will get another win here. And then the next week going to Pittsburgh, Kansas to face the Pittsburgh State Gorillas. This will be a tough game for the Bearcats, especially with how the Gorillas have been the last couple of years. They've been at the top of the food chain in the MIAA, up there with UCM and UCO. So this will be another tough matchup for the Bearcats, and I do think the Bearcats aren't going to be able to get this one done, especially with Pittsburgh, Kansas being one of the hardest places to play in Division II football. This is going to be a tough matchup. It'll go down to the wire, I'm hoping, but I just think Pittsburgh State outmatches the Bearcats just by a little bit. So all in all, I think a 9-2 record is where I see Coach McMenamin leading the Bearcats in his first year. That's been another version of Next Week in Bearcat Sports. I've been Jackson Phelps. Take it away, Jason.
Thanks, Jackson. Before we head out, we're going to take a trip down memory lane as we treat you to Bearcat Update exclusive. But before we get into that, we'll take our second and final break of the show. We'll be right back.
Here at Tower Yearbook, we are a dedicated staff of photographers, designers, copywriters, and practicum students.
Our staff is a student-led, student-run media outlet, producing a book with over 300 pages. Be sure to pop out at any of our portrait or distribution events.
So stay tuned to our social media to see what's up.
Stay on top of current events and the biggest stories of the week with Northwest News.
Welcome back to Northwest News. I'm Skylar Stamps.
And I'm Wiley Ray.
Get all the latest news coverage and updates about Northwest, the Maryville community, and ways you can stay involved on and off campus. Northwest News every Sunday, live at 11 on KNWT TV.
Welcome back to Bearcat Update. Let's take a look into Bearcat past. Some say quarterback is the toughest position to play in all of sports. For 3 years, Mike Hohensee did the job admirably for the Bearcats. In his time as the starter, Hohensee led Northwest to a 25-5 record, often displaying his toughness by playing through injuries. Hohensee ended his time at Northwest with his name in the top 10 for many Bearcat passing records, including 2nd in career completion percentage and 5th in touchdown passes. Now, Hohensee has signed with the San Antonio Brahms of the United Football League. This week, we're changing up our tune as we went all out for a Bearcat Update exclusive over Mike and his time as a Bearcat. Let's get right into it.
as a person. Like he's exactly the type of guy that I think everybody should strive to be.
Coming out of St. Charles, Illinois, the son of a former NFL quarterback entered his career with Northwest as an underdog. While still awaiting his chance under center, Hohensee made an impression as the team's punter, and when he finally got his shot, Hohensee made the most of it.
Mike was a really hard worker, always did extra running and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a really good example to look up to.
The UFL San Antonio Bravos began Saturday with former third-round pick Kellen Mond as the starter at quarterback, with Kevin Hogan backing him up. Teams carry an emergency third quarterback, and San Antonio is no different, as entering Saturday, Jarrett Garantano held that spot. But at kickoff, the team announced that former Northwest Missouri State quarterback Mike Hohensee would be added to the roster and dress as the third quarterback, as Garantano spent the afternoon in street clothes. Hohensee spent the spring with the Cowboys, earning compliments from Super Bowl winning head coach Mike McCarthy and Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner. Even though it was just a tryout, Hohensee made sure to stay ready just in case.
No, I have no idea what the future looks like, but whatever it is, I know I came out here and did the best I could, and hopefully that leads to other opportunities in the future.
And that opportunity came in the form of the UFL. He's put in the work, he's stayed ready, and now it's paying off. But it wasn't just the big names of the NFL that he impressed. It's the fellow Bearcats that worked beside him every day.
And for me, that's really translated to kind of my story, because spring ball a year ago, I broke my collarbone, going into my junior season, and I'm thinking, well, this is something that could really impact me going forward, right? But using him as an example, using others especially him as an example, but seeing the things that others had gone through as well, like just being able to fight through that pain, to keep that confident mindset of like, okay, this is just a little stepping stone. This is just a little fork in the road. Once I get past it, I'll be good, So being able to do that rehab and get back healthier than ever, and go out there and perform how I did last season, it was very influenced by his story and what he did his junior year, and the injuries that he had to go through and the toughness that he had to build throughout his path. So I attribute a lot of my success last year and the toughness that I was able to show through his example.
Hohensee's story hasn't been a fairy tale. He's battled adversity at every turn, and he's powered through every time. Through injuries and hard hits, his dreams are coming true. With 8 weeks left in the UFL season, it may only be a matter of time until Hohensee gets his chance to showcase the talent that we here at BCU know all too well. And from his former teammates, they gave their advice as he prepares to take his game up to a new level.
Be you. Don't be anybody else. Be Mike Hohensee. As long as you keep doing that, you'll find success, I have no doubt.
I would say just keep being him. Just keep working. He got there from working hard like he always has, so I'd say just keep grinding like he always has, and he'll be successful.
As well as Luke and Chris, we are all more than excited for Mike Hohensee to get his chance to show what it means to be a Bearcat. Because as we all know, once a Bearcat, always a Bearcat.
Back to pass, Hohensee as pressure comes in on the blitz, looks to throw, caught, touchdown Northwest, as Sturdy comes up with his second touchdown of the day.
Thanks, Killian. That's all the time we have for today. I'm your host, Jason Holland, and this has been Bearcat Update, the provider of complete coverage of Northwest sports. We are live every Sunday at 2, and you can find us on YouTube at KNWT TV. Along with Bearcat Update, you can watch KNWT's other content as well. Thank you all for watching, and we'll be back in no time.